Good evening and thank you for staying with us right here in Voice of the People 90.3 FM. This is a World News. My name is Esther Wachiko and here are the top stories. Nigerian government summons Ibom air crew Emerson over airport incident. Also, NCAA orders all phones switched off during takeoff, including landing. Court grants DSS request to shield identities of witnesses in trial of Al-Shabaab terrorists. Operatives behind assault on core member arrested in Anambra State. Bandits kill 13 worshippers in Katsina Mosque. Owo church attack alleged Al-Shabaab terrorists apply for bail. Meanwhile, in this very recent development, El-Rufai Tambuwal currently meet in Abuja for strategic talks. Federal government plans salary increase for President Tinubu's senators, other political office holders. Details now. Thank you for staying with us. The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority has summoned Ibom cabin crew member Juliana Edward and the embattled passenger Comfort Emerson for further investigations. The Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection at NCAA, Michael Achimugu, disclosed this during a question and answer session at the Emergency National Civil Aviation Security Committee and stakeholders meeting held today in Abuja. Achimugu noted that he spoke with Emerson earlier in the day, stating that the passenger and the crew member involved had been summoned for further inquiry. He, however, clarified that the pilot did not call in security personnel upon landing in Lagos, as the issue seemed resolved during the flight. However, Emerson, who reportedly visited the restroom after landing, was the last to disembark from the aircraft. Achimugu assured that NCAA remains committed to uncovering all the facts surrounding the incident. In his reaction, however, Senator Buhari Abdul Fatai, chairman of the Senate Committee on Aviation, attributed rising incidents of misconduct in the aviation sector to a general decline in discipline amongst passengers, airport staff and crew. NCAA therefore issued a fresh directive that all mobile phones must completely be switched off during takeoff and landing because of what transpired between Comfort Emerson, which recently stirred controversy in the country's aviation sector. Meanwhile, the Federal High Court in Abuja has granted the request of the Department of State Service (DSS) to shield the identities of the witness that would give evidence in the trial of the 5 alleged Al-Shabaab terrorists involved in the June 5, 2022 attack at St. Francis Catholic Church, Ondo State, in which over 40 worshippers died. Justice Emeka Nwite granted the request today while delivering an ex parte application filed and argued by the DSS. A legal practitioner, Dr. C.S. Eze, who argued the application on behalf of the DSS, predicated it on the need to protect the witnesses from possible attacks. He argued that terrorism cases are so sensitive that witnesses must be protected in order of the court. Having not opposed, Justice Nwite granted the request and ordered the DSS not to reveal names and identities of those who testify in the matter. The 5 accused persons are Idris Abdul Malik Omeza, Al-Kazim Idris, Jamiu Abdul Malik Abdullahim Idris, and Momo Otuho Abubakar. Over 40 people were reported to have died in the bomb attack, while over 100 others sustained severe injuries. The 5 defendants were arraigned on August 11 on a 9-count charge of terrorism. They are accused of being members of the Al-Shabaab terrorist group belonging to a cell in Kogi State. The defendants are also alleged to have carried out the attack in furtherance of their religious ideology. However, they had pleaded not guilty when the charge was read to them by an official of the court. The Anambra state government has condemned the assault on a National Youth Service Corps member, Jennifer Elobo, by members of the state security outfit. This is just as it said those responsible have been identified, arrested and detained. Now, a video went online or viral today where these operatives armed with guns stormed the Corps members' lodge, accused them of being internet fraudsters despite showing their identification cards and uniforms. The operatives were seen beating the female Corps member despite her cries for help. In the process, they tore her clothes, leaving her completely naked, pushing her into their vehicle, which further aggravated Nigerians who watched the video. Despite this, the operatives in number continued to beat the female corps member. In the video, the corps member was seen begging the security operatives to please stop as they continued to hit her. The attack triggered outrage on social media. She kept on pleading, please stop, please, please. They kept on beating until they completely tore off her clothes, pushed her into their vehicle. While appearing on a monitor television program, the special advisor to Governor Chukwuma Soludo's community security, Ken Emekayi, described the incident as unfortunate, barbaric, and unacceptable. He confirmed that the operatives involved in the assault had been arrested and are currently under investigation. According to Emekayi, the incident occurred during a joint security operation when operatives of Agune Chimba, the state security outfit established under the Anambra State Homeland Security Law 2025, pursued suspected cultists into a residential compound. He explained that the operation was part of Operation Udogachi, a code name for joint task force operations involving the police, army, Department of State Services, civil defense, and state security outfit. Well, in the process of searching the houses in line with their mandate, these unfortunate incident involving the corps member occurred. Emekayi disclosed that the assaulted corps member was invited to his office alongside NYSC officials, where he personally listened to their account of the incident. Emekayi also clarified the distinction between Operation Udogachi and Agune Chimba, noting that the former is a joint security operation involving multiple agencies, while the latter is a state statutory security outfit created by law. He assured residents of Anambra State that Governor Charles Soludo's administration will not condone any abuse of power by security agents, particularly against innocent citizens. Meanwhile, Katsina state government has mobilized more security forces following the tragic attack by bandits, or terrorists rather, killing 13 worshippers in a mosque at the wee hours of Tuesday at the Malum Fashi local government area of the state. The terrorists were on a reprisal attack and they shot at the worshippers at Unguwan Manto community, leaving 13 dead. The State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Dr. Nasiru Muazu, disclosed to journalists earlier today that the state government announced immediate security reinforcement and support measures following the tragic incident. Also, they disclosed, however, that they extended their heartfelt condolences to the families affected and reaffirmed their unwavering support for community-based security initiatives while working to eliminate criminal elements from the region. Meanwhile, the 5 alleged members of the Al-Shabaab terrorist group who are standing trial over the June 5, 2022 attack on St. Francis Catholic Church of Ondo State have asked the Federal High Court in Abuja to release them on bail from the custody of the DSS. These defendants, however, who are facing a 9-count charge bordering on terrorism, disclosed that they are innocent. According to the federal government, the defendants masterminded the deadly attack that claimed more than 40 lives and left over 100 worshippers injured. However, they are pleading not guilty when the charge was read to them on August 11. Following a no objection stance by the defense, the judge ordered that the witnesses' names and identities who are supposed to speak against the 5 alleged members actually be undisclosed. Now, onto politics. Former Kaduna State Governor Malam Nasir El-Rufai paid a courtesy visit to former Sokoto State Governor Senator Aminu Waziri Tambuwal at his Abuja residence. The meeting comes days after Tambuwal regained freedom from the custody of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, where he was squeezed over alleged fraudulent cash withdrawals totaling 189 billion naira. Tambuwal, a close political associate of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, had honored an EFCC summon on Monday, August 11, 2025, arriving at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja around 11:30 a.m. He was, however, released the following day after interrogation. EFCC sources disclosed that the ongoing probe focuses on transactions allegedly linked to Tambuwal's tenure as Sokoto State Governor between 2015 and 2023, with investigators examining possible breaches of the Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022. Both El-Rufai and Tambuwal are opposition figures and members of the coalition that recently adopted the African Democratic Congress as its platform ahead of the 2027 elections. You recall that El-Rufai has vowed to ensure that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu does not emerge for the second term as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He has, however, been in coalition conversations and talks, planning strategy to ensure that the APC does not regain or reappoint themselves for 2027. Now, the federal government is considering a salary increase for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Vice President Kashim Shettima, senators, ministers, other political office holders, following a proposal by the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Committee. Well, Mohammed Sheikh, who is the chairman, announced a plan at a press briefing in Abuja on Monday. He described the current salary structure as outdated and unrealistic, noting that it has remained unchanged since 2008 despite rising responsibilities and economic challenges. Shehu revealed that the president currently earns 1.5 million naira monthly, while ministers receive less than 1 million naira. He argued that these figures fall short of what is appropriate for such high offices, especially when compared with the much higher salaries of some agency heads, including the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. He said, and I quote, "You cannot pay the president of Nigeria 1.5 million naira monthly with a population of over 200 million people and expect it to be taken seriously. You pay either a CBN governor or the DG 10 times more than you pay the president. That is just not right. Or you pay him, the head of an agency, 20 times higher than the Attorney General of the Federation. That is absolutely not right." End quote. But the plan has been met with resistance from organized labor. The Nigerian Labour Congress warned that raising salaries for politicians at a time when ordinary Nigerians are struggling with inflation and poverty would be unjust. A senior NLC official said the real burden lies in hidden allowances and perks that already inflate the earnings of top office holders. Labour also criticized a wide income gap between politicians and ordinary workers, while lawmakers are believed to take home up to 30 million naira monthly. The national minimum wage stands at 70,000 naira, and university professors earn less than 400,000 naira. The union argued that this growing inequality is eroding the middle class and fueling poverty. However, Shehu clarified that the commission is not responsible for fixing the minimum wage for civil servants, but is constitutionally mandated to determine the pay of political, judicial and legislative office holders. He insisted that realistic remuneration was necessary to ensure accountability and discourage corruption. In addition to the salary review, Shehu said the RMAFC has begun work on revising Nigeria's revenue allocation formula, which has not been adjusted since 1992. The current arrangement gives the federal government 52.68%, states 26.72%, and local government 20.60%, with a further 4.18% reserved for special funds. He explained that recent constitutional amendments have increased the financial responsibility of states, making it essential to review the formula to ensure equity and sustainability. He revealed that previous efforts under former presidents Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, Muhammadu Buhari were stalled, but promised that the ongoing review would be inclusive, data-driven and transparent. You're currently listening to the World News right here on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. We'll take a very short break. When we return, we'll head into the news analysis segment, where we'll be joined via the telephone with Mr. Elvis Elimihele, who is a political, national and social affairs commentator, also a journalist. Do kindly stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. This is still the World News right here on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. Now, youth of the opposition African Democratic Congress (ADC) have vowed that the party will defeat President Bola Tinubu and the All Progressives Congress in the 2027 general elections. The youth stated that they are ready to match any strategy or measure adopted by the APC to ensure victory for their party. The youth spoke in Abuja today under the aegis of the African Democratic Youth Congress. Some of those who spoke, including the national coordinator of the group, Mrs. Rukayat Lamido Dodo, its Director General, Murtala Halidu Danturu, Joshua Nweke Anyoma, and others. They insisted that even if President Tinubu decides to appoint his spokesperson, Bayo Onanaga, as a replacement for Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, whose tenure as the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission expires in December, the APC would be defeated at the polls in 2027. I'm now being joined via the telephone with Mr. Elvis Elimehele. Mr. Elvis, good evening and thank you for staying with us right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM.
Good evening, Esther. How are you doing?
I am fine. Mr. Elvis, let's start off with this very recent development. It's concerning what happened between Comfort Emerson, Juliana Edward, the NCAA, precisely the entire situation with the aviation industry. And it's quite unfortunate what actually transpired. They have invited Comfort Emerson and Juliana Edward for more investigation. Do you think that the general indiscipline is based on the fact that the initial happening, the one with Kwangwan, was not diligently dealt with, and that's why we're seeing a supposed decline in passenger attitude or even crew member attitudes to the passengers on the plane?
Yeah, Esther, you are right. It's not even with Kwangwan. It started with Senator Shomole, the former governor of Edo State. Shomole got to the airport late and he was making pace and drawing crowds, jumping on the conveyor belt and closing the boarding gate. That was a big shame for such a person who was president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, governor of Edo State for 8 years, and a serving senator, presently serving senator in the National Assembly. I mean, if there is anybody that could have even talked of decorum and making peace in such a sacred place like the airport, should be people in government or who have even traveled far and wide and even know what an airport means. An airport is not just a local terminal. It's not a bus. It's not a motor park. So if Oshomole's matter was properly handled at that moment, see what they are saying now, calling on MRC and the air hostess now, if Oshomole was called to order at that time, I don't think we have even got into Kwangwan then before this recent one that happened with this MRC and Ibon Air. So I think the NCA missed then. We should not be, this one will keep saying Esther. All this kind of selective justice or looking at faces before you give judgment, I don't like it, and Nigerians don't like it. We should honestly have been called to order. We have been told now that they are investigating that matter. We don't know how long that investigation is going to take before Kwangwan happens, before this MSC to happen. If Oshomole's investigation has come out before now, appropriate punishment is meted out accordingly. It would have served as deterrent before Kwangwan went to block an aircraft in the airport, thinking that he was in the motor park here in Lagos. I mean, are we talking this aircraft move where? This aircraft downfall buses. Don't you know that aircraft is anything that has to do with airport and aircraft is regulated by ICAO worldwide, International Civil Aviation Organization. What you are doing in Nigeria is what is happening in US, what is happening in UK, all over the world. But they are trying to localize Nigeria into the garage or a bus stop at Ishu or a bus stop at Ebeda or somewhere in Obalende. It's not gone. The NCA should put their feet down, and act appropriately. Let everybody that is, indicted in anything of this nature get the appropriate punishment, so that Nigerians will not begin to localize what is an international organization in Nigeria. This is our own local
Mr. Elvis.
Motor park.
Amazing, thank you. I'm so sorry for having to interrupt that. There are quite a lot of questions I want to ask you on different stories on the world news at 6. So in Anambra State, I don't know if you saw a viral video that really created condemnation from all and sundry. A particular corps member, a young fair lady, was in her compound. When you're in your house, you dress very casually with just a very light, maybe like a nightgown or an inner wear in the early hours of the day, like in the morning. And we saw this man storm the compound. They were beating this young lady. She kept on saying, please. She was crying for help, please, please. But they didn't listen to her. They pushed her, they hit her, they tore her clothes. This woman was naked. Thank God, whoever put this video on social media kind of blurred it, like she was literally naked, and none of the men in that is the security supposed men who were hitting this girl did not even think of decency, of decorum, of even trying to tell their colleagues to stop hitting her or even remove their shirt to cover this young lady. They didn't stop there. After they discovered she was naked and she raised up her hand and was saying please, they pushed her inside their vehicle. There were other young men in the compound standing and looking for who to call for help. Mr. Elvis, it was a barbaric, insensitive situation, and this was what generated the conversation on social media. And the question that is being asked is, what is going on in Nigeria? When do things decline like this, where human beings, especially security agencies who are meant, or security agents who are meant to have a sense of decorum, act like barbarians with no sense of discipline or professionalism? What's your take on this development?
Very shameful act, Esther. I watched that video. In fact, I can't even believe that in 21st century, men could descend on an innocent lady of that matter, no matter the offense, no matter the crime. And come to think of it, this is a young girl that is serving the nation. That girl is not from Anambra state. You know, you don't serve in your state. And somebody who is supposed to be like everybody in Anambra state supposed to protect her interest, being a visitor to that state as a copper, could be disgraced in that manner, could be treated in that manner. I don't even understand. I don't know. And these are people that said they are kind of vigilante or what they call them. This is even one of the reasons why Nigerians are still skeptical about state police. If they can have this authority to deal with a copper, it's a federal government child in that manner. I don't know what people have even done to a common person on the street. A copper who is supposed to be protected by all the law enforcement agencies in that state, because this is somebody that came to serve the federal government in that state, could be descended on.
Mr. Elvis, these young people in that compound show these security operatives their ID card. They show them their ID cards and even their corps member uniforms, and that was not enough. What is even worrisome is that they didn't even consider that she is a woman, and that she was not even properly attired. She was in her home. There was no consideration whatsoever. Well, the Anambra state government has disclosed that those individuals have been apprehended. But is that enough? That's a question. According to one of the directors, he said that for now the investigation has been paused, that he invited the young lady to come for, to hear her own account of what transpired, but that she did not present herself. Is it possible that she is afraid? That she's in a confused state of mind? She's afraid to come out? Or could it be that she's looking for a proper legal representative? Because that's the update we saw on their official Twitter handle, that the young lady did not arrive at the station for, to give her own account of what happened. So there is a stall in having to understand what transpired. However, those individuals have been arrested. Do you think there is a proper reason for her fear?
Esther, I think she deserves to be protected, and I'm suspecting that she's actually looking for a better protection for her to appear for that before she can go for that investigation or whatever, for the police. I saw the Anambra State Police Public Relations Officer talking that they are still expecting her to come forward to come and give her own side of the matter. But that video is so absurd. Anybody that watched that video knows that we see that these people mean something. They knew what they were going for. So that innocent girl, innocent couple need to be protected. I wonder where the human rights organizations are in this nation, what we are talking about, civil society organization and even Nigeria Bar Association. That girl needs a lot of protection, because I don't trust Nigeria police, and I don't trust, with what happened to her now in that Anambra state, it means that she's just on her own. I think this copper, that's a copper's lodge. If this copper goes to the street tomorrow, Nigeria will be there. That's when the police will not come out and start shooting tear gas and start shooting live bullets to disperse them. If it was the time I was still a copper, I knew what I would have been able to do. If that one happened to my core members, I know what I would have, fellow core member. I know what I would have been able to organize and do. I don't even know what the core members are in Anambra State are still waiting for. At this time that they have not been able to even organize, even if it's just ordinary protest. Let their interest be laid before the world. That this video has to go viral before everybody has to start start talking about it. The way that girl was related is an assault. Honestly,
it was
I don't
sad.
know.
It was very sad.
It's so sad. It's so sad. And I'm still waiting for Professor Soweto to act on this matter, because whatever is going on in Anambra State now, by 8th of November, Anambra is going for an election.
Yes.
Everything that happened in Anambra, stops at the death of the people. And people will take side in this. You remember what happened to Badminton? The first governor in that Anambra State in 1999. In Badminton, the Igbo's were killed. Igbo was the Nigeria Association chairman in Igbo. The man and the wife was murdered in cold blood. That brought Badminton's government to nothing. That people said no. If this man cannot protect the citizen, this man is not due to be governor of this state any longer. PDP refused to give him ticket in the second term of 2023, 2003. And that led to his political downfall. So if Soludo does not manage this situation so well, that could render his political downfall too, because that vision is too barbaric in 21st century for anybody to see. That a young girl who is serving his nation is naked in that manner. And these are security that are put up by Soludo's government. Those, whatever they call them, is a vigilante group, and the Soludo government that is sponsoring it. If the Soludo cannot call them to order, they will bring down his political fame, and they will bring down his government, and the election is in the corner in November 2025, and the election is coming up in Anambra. So anything can happen to Soludo if it doesn't trend well in this matter, Esther.
All right, Mr. Elvis, so the federal government is considering a salary increase for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Vice President Kashim Shettima, senators, ministers, and other political office holders. And this is following a proposal by the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission. For them, they say that there needs to be an upgrade, that the president currently is actually earning 1.5 million naira monthly, while the ministers receive less than 1 million naira, and that the figures fall short of what is appropriate for such high offices, especially when compared with what the much higher earning power of the CBN governor and other heads of agencies and parastatals. And he actually said that the salary structure for that particular hierarchy is very old. It has been unchanged since 2008. But the Nigerian Labour Congress has said that that is really unfair and no form of sympathy for you to be proposing salary increment for the president, vice, and some ministers, including senators and House of Rep members, when Nigerians are literally lamenting that the living condition is terrible. So how would you be making such a proposition? Now, for them, they say that it is not their responsibility to fix the minimum wage for civil servants. That's what they said, that the commission is not responsible for fixing minimum wage for civil servants, but they will continue mandating to determine the pay of political, judicial, and legislative office holders. So, in other words, anything about the civil servants is not their business. Their business is about the pay and minimum wage of the political actors and, those in the upper echelon of the administration of the day. What's your take on this?
The Revenue Allocation Committee, or whatever they call them, they should stop cajoling Nigerians. Honestly, Esther, it's so sad. I mean, why are they telling us that since 2008? Do these people live on their salary? Do they even know what that salary is paid to them? An office, when you get into an office, you are fed freely. You live with free accommodation. Your transportation is free, and every other thing. They should tell us the allowances they earn. I mean, if they are talking about salary for president and vice president and senators, these are people who knew that sometimes this year they got 160 million cars. I mean, what do they do with the money? So they are just fooling us. They are just cajoling us. Let them increase it. And I'm waiting for the Nigerian Labour Congress and under the leadership of Ajero, what they are going to say in this matter.
But Mr. Elvis, there's a wide income gap between politicians and ordinary workers, and they seem to be, they seem to not have any form of empathy towards the people they govern. There's a complete disparity and apathy of the political class to their people. They don't even care if people are surviving. The money just circulates amongst themselves.
That's why I said they are fooling us. They are fooling us, coming to tell us this. Because what we are going through, they don't feel it. They don't even understand what we are going through. Then they can still come out after 20-something billion to renovate the vice president's house, buying a new aircraft for the president, and buying a presidential yacht, and all that. They're talking about increment in salary. They should keep all these kids to themselves. It's like the way the democracy has been structured in Nigeria, it's just structured in such a way that the so-called people who are in power are just fooling us. They are bamboozling us, they are fooling us, they are taking us for a ride, insensitive to our plight. That's why they can come out and announce it, that the salary has not been increased in 2008. Do they use their money? Do they even know how much their salary is? If all three Nigerians can live the same way they are living, nobody will have been asking for salary to get everything free. The president right now to talk is somewhere in Japan now or Brazil or where he is. I've talked to just the Estaco, the ends in all these streets. How many Nigerian workers under Ajero has even 1/100 of what the president earned as Estaco or even allowances? Ajero, I'm waiting for what Ajero and his leadership will do about this Estaco. This news piece is so downgrading and it's fooling us. It's something that I don't even want to hear about. Like they would have secretly do it, as they secretly share money that we don't know about every day and every month. Do you know the allowances? Do you know their salary before now? By the time you get people in the National Assembly, like a cutting grant, nobody know how much they earn. They should have people increase the salary in that manner too. Without telling Nigerians. What are they coming to announce to us? Is this no news, Esther? I'm telling you. I'm waiting for Ajero and his gang to do something.
Now, Mr. Elvis, I'm sure you recall that El-Rufai on several occasions, after he defected from the APC to the SDP, sounded very hurt and said that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he will make sure that he doesn't return there in 2027. One of the things he made sure he made a statement of is the fact that he believes that the president is not sympathetic to the plight of the people. Also called the president's administration one that is too ethnic and does not actually consider federal character representation. And it's obvious that he's burnt. Nigerians, especially the APC, say El-Rufai is burnt because he was not given any ministerial appointment. However, the receptivity towards El-Rufai has not generally been positive because of his antecedent as a governor of Kaduna State and the insecurity that prevailed at the time. But here is the thing. Today, there were videos and pictures of him with Aminu Tambuwal. Now, you know that Aminu Tambuwal was recently invited by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for interrogation at 11:30 a.m. He was released the following day. And there are talks that this could be politically motivated because of the ADC as a coalition. There are also talks that there is a possibility that Tambuwal or El-Rufai could be a proposed vice to Peter Obi if at all he emerges as a flag bearer of the ADC. However, strategic talks are ongoing. Do you think this will make any difference whatsoever, especially with the recent revelation about a proposed result of 2023, which elicited that Peter Obi won the 2023 elections, regardless of what INEC announced?
I find it very disturbing when I hear El-Rufai, anything that has to do with political situation of Nigeria, and El-Rufai is at the forefront. It's so disturbing to me. Yes, I must tell you the reason, Esther. One, the insecurity, the banditry that is going on in the Northwest today. El-Rufai knows so much about it. In collaboration with his father that died recently, President Muhammadu Buhari. They know how they brought in that banditry into Northwest, that today all in the need to intimidate Jonathan office, that they could not manage that as snowball into what we are seeing in that Northwest today. Two, El-Rufai, if he was in this government of Tinubu as a minister, all this junketing you are seeing around today would have been going on. He would have told you that Tinubu's government is a bad blessing that is happening to Nigeria. And again, I also want to remind you too that even everything that he's talking about Tinubu should be started with his father, late Muhammadu Buhari. He's talking about what they call it, nepotism. Bringing in your own kinsmen in almost all the offices. Started with him. At that time, he was in government in Kaduna. He never saw anything wrong. And if you even look at El-Rufai himself, at the time he was governor of Kaduna, he started even the southern Kaduna that at least they tried to balance it. Okay, if the governor comes from the northern part of Katsina, then the southern part you produce the deputy governor. El-Rufai never did this, so he even went as far as going for Muslim ticket as his deputy himself and his deputy. So if El-Rufai is telling Nigerians that he wants to remove Tinubu from office, Nigeria should ask El-Rufai, what is Tinubu saying that is worse than what his father Muhammadu Buhari committed? Number one, and number two, you're coming to tell Nigerians that you want to remove him. Have you told Nigerians the reason, number one, and number two, just tell Nigerians that this is the manifesto we are bringing in that is better than what we have now. If you are telling Nigerians we want to remove Tinubu, it looks as if it's a personal thing and that you have grudges against him. Nigeria must not play into the hand of El-Rufai in 2027. The same way they played into his hand in 2016 that brought in APC. The same APC today now is what he's saying now that is no longer the pride of Nigeria. So anything that El-Rufai is concocting next to me, I feel he's fooling Nigeria. And if we play into his hand the second time, the Bible says affliction shall not arise the second time. That means Nigerians don't even know what we are doing. We want to be afflicted with El-Rufai again. El-Rufai and his APC and all his junketing around or whatever. I'm sorry, Obi is grumpy with them. Obi should have known better than all these people. Look at all the names that are being paraded. Are they new? Is it the big man? Is he El-Rufai? Is he Atiku? Who is that new person that we are seeing? Is he Arebeshola? Who is that new person we are seeing in ADC that Nigerians don't know they are citizens? Is he Amechi?
Do you think El-Rufai has changed? Do you think that he has seen the light?
Like El-Rufai, they only come to tell you they've changed because they want to come and fool you, Esther. By the time they get in here, you see their true color. These people will get in here. Have you not seen all of them that said they are coming to remove PGP and at the end they are coming with a better result for Nigeria? Is it not the government we are seeing now? Are we not talking about going back to PGP? We even want the other PGP when we're still buying a bag of rice for 7,000, 8,000. Take us back. You know what Nigerians are trying us now? So these ones are coming again and they're coming with their hidden agenda to come and fool us, bamboozle us, and at the end of the day, they get to power. They will now begin to compare themselves now with the APC government by then and begin to tell you, oh, we met a very devastated economy. That's what you give excuse in government. A leader must not give excuse. By the time you speak leadership, you are coming to solve problems. Leaders are meant to solve problems. But in Nigeria, we see leaders come in and start giving excuses. Oh, what we meant on ground. What we meant on ground. I mean, it's an assault. So I don't even want to hear anything about El-Rufai. I'm sorry that Nigerians are still reckoning with El-Rufai. This is the man that speaks from both sides of the map. We knew El-Rufai until they right from PGP to APC, and APC now is going to APC. When it's not favoring him, he knows how to run around and gather people and fool them and to join his camp. But when they get in there, they do the opposite. El-Rufai does not have that antecedent to even tell Nigerians that this is the party you should follow in 2027, except you forget easily in this part of the world.
That's another thing. So, Mr. Elvis, a lot of Nigerians are aware of all of this that you said. His antecedent already is a dark smudge on whatever it is he's saying now. He has at one time actually disclosed that very soon he will talk. I think somebody on X, that is formerly known as Twitter, said that El-Rufai no longer has the political clout, meaning that anybody who takes anything he speaks or anything he rules out should not take anything he's saying now serious, that he has lost the kind of clout he thought he had. And El-Rufai's response to that particular reaction was that very soon he will talk. We don't know what he's going to say. The only thing we've seen lately is him saying that the 2023 election was not won by the president as actually announced by INEC. Babachir Lawal came to say the same thing. Amici, in a recent space conversation he had where he put out his agenda for becoming the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, also made revelations that in Rivers State it was the Labour Party that won, but he doesn't know how they rigged it. We also saw a purported result sheet that circulated on social media, supposedly that El-Rufai knows how they went about what they're doing. But the thing is, after all of this, we did not hear any of the spokespersons of the president come out to discountenance what he said, distance themselves from all of those narratives, or even puncture any hole in the statement that he made. We're also thinking that maybe they would ask the DSS to invite him for questioning as to what he knows that Nigerians do not know on what transpired on February 26, 2023. So, Mr. Elvis Elimihele, in all of this, despite all you have said about El-Rufai, do you think there is something he knows that the federal government is afraid of and they don't really want to push him further to spill if it gets to that point for him to spill?
Yeah, he has so much to say because he was in their camp when they were coming in 2023. He was in their camp. He knows how they managed. They manipulated this government into power. This present Tinubu's government we are saying. He knows so much. But what we are trying to discuss here is that even all these ones are already too irrelevant. It's too irrelevant to Nigerians now. We have been drenched by the rain already. So what we should be looking for in 2027 should be that sunshine that will be able to dry us from this trench that we have in this APC government.
Okay.
It's not so. If El-Rufai is one that is going to lead us, I'm telling you that it's also going to be a kind of shenanigan, because I don't think anything good come from El-Rufai's camp. El-Rufai can also really just wake up now and begin to tell Nigerians that he's born again or whatever. With all we have seen from him for the past 8 years of this APC government, 10 years of this APC government, he just left APC and started, singing like the Kireru bird now from both sides of the mouth. So I don't think we should take him seriously, honestly. We saw the intimidation that this El-Rufai led with all the northern oligarchy and some of them that to remove Jonathan in 2016. He himself and later Ahmed Gulag should be able to tell Nigerians how the group went around the northern elite, to bring Jonathan's government down to where we are today. We should remember that even when John Kerry was sent by the former president of America, Obama, to Nigeria, he went to Sokoto Street. He never visited Abuja. And only God knows the meeting that went on in that Sokoto, with all of them, that Jonathan must go. And so at the end of the day, Jonathan, has he not left? Is he dead now? Jonathan is living. He has even gotten more accolades since he left Nigeria as president of Nigeria, recognized more in the international world than even as president of Nigeria. So El-Rufai must be taken out of Nigeria politics. Let Nigeria feel so well. The head on our eye, we must play it off and feel so well. I know that El-Rufai does not have any future for Nigerians. Whatever even if he's jumping around now. 2007 must not fool us to follow him any longer. Nigeria should know better.
Mr. Elvis Ali Mehele, I sincerely do appreciate your input on the World News at 6. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Esther. It's my pleasure. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, sir. All right, and just before we go, let's look at stories outside the shores of Nigeria. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt is being pressed on Ukraine. At a very recent news briefing, Donald Trump has ruled out sending U.S. troops to Ukraine as part of security guarantees if a peace deal is reached. The U.S. president hints at U.S. air support and tells news agencies that Russia's Vladimir Putin would face a rough situation if he doesn't cooperate in the peace process. It comes after Monday's talks between Vladimir Zelensky, Trump and European leaders at the White House. Zelensky hails the meeting as significant and says Ukraine is already working on concrete security guarantees. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer says the coalition of the willing have held a constructive meeting and plans to further hold talks with their US counterparts in the coming days. And that's a wrap on the World News at 6. My name is Esther Wachuku. Do kindly stay with us for the evening rush, which comes up shortly. Good evening.